What's happening, y'all, and welcome into HouseOfSparky.com's football show, our last one of the semester. He's Troy Lynch. I'm Blaine McCormick. There's a lot to talk about. Topsy-turvy weekend in Sun Devil football. Got the Territorial Cup to talk about. New head coach coming to Tempe as well. There's a lot for this show to cover. After Arizona State's loss to USC, our staff at House of Sparky compiled highlights, wrote the recap, and then told the public about the loss. In no way were we insinuating that the Sun Devil season is completely over with. You got it, and I mean, Arizona State playing UCLA on Veterans Day, so I figured, why not debut the American tie bow tie? Speaking of debuts, Arizona State's uniforms last week, I don't know if you saw them, but so good. Well, let's talk about their debut with these highlights. Now, to switch into a more positive light, wide receiver Nikhil Harry has woed fans with his crazy catches and brute strength, but he isn't finished perfecting his craft just yet. I caught up with the sophomore earlier this week and found what makes him so talented. There's some things that went unnoticed in the midst of all the chaos. For example, some fans may not even realize that Christian Sam tied a career-high 11 tackles. Cool, but he's done that 2 other times this season. I'd say he deserves a hug from Coach Graham. Thanks so much, Troy, for the feel-good story of the week. Now, we like to talk a lot of football on this show, but we also like to show some, and that's why we bring in Austin Burnett to break down some film of this Oregon State offense and the defense as well. So, Austin, upon first impressions, what really stands out to you about this Oregon State team? And you mentioned laser focus, and it seemed as though the defense really had a laser focus as well. They got that unconventional safety courtesy of JoJo Wicker.
That is right.
What did you see from the Sun Devils? Because that kind of play doesn't happen too often, even in college football in general. It was just yesterday that the thought of Todd Graham's troubles seemed so far away. Well, now they're here to stay. The day after ASU's win in the Territorial Cup, Vice President of University Athletics Ray Anderson relieved Graham of his head coaching duties. Thanks, Julian. Now, there are a lot of areas in the Pac-12 South that can go up and down, but that's what college football is all about. For USC, they're going up against Colorado this weekend, and they are now ranked 15th in the nation. Definitely a clear favorite to win the Pac-12 South as they sit with their 8-2 record. And Colorado, they're sitting at 500. Now, looking at the Wildcats, they are coming off a loss to the Trojans and will be hosting Oregon State, who is last in the Pac-12 North. And you've probably heard of this guy, Khalil Tate. He's now one of 16 semifinalists for the Davey O'Brien Award and is one of 4 sophomores on that list as well. This will be an interesting matchup because Arizona State has to face these 2 teams later in the season. Well, you mentioned the big game. It's a big game for both teams as well, but it's an even bigger show for us. Yeah. If you don't know where we're at, we're in the middle of Tillman Tunnel where the players run out, touch Tillman's statue, and then head out onto the field. But let's start off the show like we always do with some highlights. Let's check them out from the Oregon State matchup last week. French poet Paul Valéry once said, "A great man is one who leaves others at a loss after he is gone." Yesterday, football was such an easy game to play. Now I guess the program needs a place to hide away. Now let's bring it back to ASU. We always talk about shining players, but what about the ones who show promise? Eno Benjamin showed that potential as he racked up his first touchdown of his true freshman career. Fans know who Demario Richard and Kalen Ballage are, but don't forget about Benjamin. By the time the year is done, both Richard and Ballage are bye-bye, and Benjamin will be looked to take the snaps. When asked on Tuesday about the future, he said that he and Traylon Smith have a lot to bring, and there's a lot to look forward to. On Saturday, Sun Devil fans looked forward to a touchdown to put Arizona State ahead, and Benjamin delivered. Now, you'll always remember your first touchdown, and here's how it went down from the man himself. Christian Sam, he's a guy that really shines on the field, but I think you and I shine in the studio, and it's mostly because of the lights.
It's so lit in here. It's crazy.
But one of our favorite segments that we like to display our talents on is Pros and Cons, where Troy and I talk about the ups and downs of Sun Devil football. I've got the cons for this week. He's got the pros, so I'll start it off. Hey, let's take you to the Bay Area as Cal looking for the game-winning 2-point conversion. No way, Jose, says Colin Schooler as he swats it away, and the Wildcats win in double overtime and their 3rd straight game. Here's our ASU top plays of the season. Brandon Reese, our captain crunch time, putting in the 41-yarder, and they beat Oregon 37-35. But who else had a heck of a game? Eno Benjamin. And he's going in this like a bop it. Ready? Push it. Twist it. Pull it. Diving into the end zone. Gets the touchdown, the first one of his young freshman career. Into Tempe we go as Manny Wilkins hikes this ball, fakes the handoff, and then Y button over the defender, making a Madden-like play on that one. Hurdles the man. He's known for this too. He did it a couple times last year. Call him Nike. He's got air. ASU wins this one 13-7 over the number 5 Husky. And here's number 1 for you, Manny Wilkins. Seen it before. Over the defender, hurdling into the end zone. Make sure, Troy, you book 2 tickets on Air Manny because he'll take you far into the end zone. Just launching himself over this guy. Look at that.
Oh, and he took a hit.
There's no way you can teach that to anybody, and he deserves our number 1 spot. Thanks, Manny. Works up, bro. On a night meant for celebration, it was the Cactus Cobras who spoiled the fun with a dominant 63-14 victory over the St. Mary's Knights. With the Cobras' regular quarterback Mahal Lee out with an injury, Cactus turned to the run game. And it worked in their favor as 7 of their 9 touchdowns were rushing plays. Coming into this game, the undefeated Cobras were favorited because of their ground pound offense. And it really showed in the first half between the rotations of Demarion Norris and Garrett Monroe from the Wildcat to the single back to any real football offense position you can think of.
With our quarterbacks out, it's been our pretty much only option, so we've just been working at it, and I think we're getting way better. I think I feel more comfortable in my spot, but I mean, we're doing it, it's working.
It's something we had to get into out of necessity, and something I'd rather not be in. But it's getting bigger, we're doing better with it, we're executing better, so we're doing a few more tendencies breaker, and it's, we're in survival mode, that's what we got. I don't use the term Wildcat, but if you want to, we call it Chuck Norris. His last name's Norris, and so I hate the term Wildcat. I don't know where it came from, but we run Chuck Norris.
And the fighting formation roundhouse Norris into the end zone 4 times. The senior also accumulated 112 rushing yards in the game. Now, Norris wasn't the only star as the Cobra defense flustered the Knights' offensive line all night, causing an interception wrangled in by Nick Quinones, as well as a blocked punt returned for a touchdown. The large victory appeared to grow their confidence, but for Norris, it's what this team is all about.
As we're playing together, we're not quitting. I mean, you see, we were at 14-14, and looking now, I think we don't give up, and we're as a team.
From Phoenix College, I'm Blaine McCormick reporting. A college football kicker or punter can be the hero or scoundrel for their team. For Arizona State special teams coach Sean Slocum, he embraces the challenges it brings.
Those 3 guys with Matt Hawk and Zane and Mitch were pretty tight for 3 years together. There are always challenges when you bring in new guys, but that's part of the game, it's the evolution of players.
Recruiting for special teams is different than other positions. Instead of developing a relationship with the player early, coaches usually look for elite recruits who can play immediately. Arizona State graduated both career-made field goal leader Zane Gonzalez and punter Matt Hawk last year, but the unit seems to be rolling along.
I think Brandon's come in and done a really good job with it and has really shown a maturity level beyond his age. I go back to the beginning of this thing. We searched the whole country for what we thought was the best kicker, and he happened to be in our backyard here. And so that was a real plus.
Freshman Brandon Reeves was looked to fill the gap that Gonzalez left. He stunned coaches across the nation as he won the Chris Saylor Place Kicker of the Year award, was an Army All-American, and even was committed to Alabama at one time.
When Brandon puts his mind to it, it doesn't matter what it is. He ends up, at the end of the day, he ends up, the top candidate, the top player. He doesn't like second or third. He wants to be number 1, and that's his goal.
Kickers, most schools aren't going to have someone to teach you. You don't get offers till your junior, senior year because you need to come in ready. They're not looking for someone to develop. They're looking for what you do today. Can you come in and kick tomorrow?
I don't know that I saw anything that was so different. I have a model of kickers that I want. It starts going back to what Mason Crosby was. I was involved in drafting him in Green Bay. When I was picturing the kicker that I wanted to sign here, Brandon fit that mold. He will get bigger. He's actually bigger than Zane was from what I understand when Zane showed up on campus. So he's actually structurally larger.
During his 8 years as the Packers special teams coach, Slocum collected a Super Bowl win. But the unit goes beyond the kickers and punters. One position that is often overlooked is long snapper, but senior Mitchell Fabroni has already cemented himself into draft conversation.
Well, first of all, stability he brings, and with his experience and his age, he's kind of the leader of the group of the kickers and punters and snappers. And, you know, his play quality is good. He's been good. He's been good with his snaps, and he's a good cover man.
The Phoenix native took that role midway through his freshman season as a walk-on in 2015. Fabroni was nominated for the Bullsworth Trophy last season, which is awarded to the nation's most outstanding walk-on. Even with Hawk's departure, Fabroni said that junior college transfer Michael Sleep Dalton and him have communicated well. Though Sleep Dalton hasn't had the best season, there's a lot to look for down the road.
Sleep has had to fight with some difficulty in terms of his health. You know, he had a tremendous offseason, and we were looking forward to him having a great year, and he strained his quad early. He had a hard time getting back into the groove and being what he's capable of being. I think in the future, you're going to see a really good punter there.
This season, the special teams unit has launched 50 touchbacks and has collected 24 punts inside the 20. Slocum also mentioned how the kicking tenure of Reeves could be similar to that of Gonzalez. For Cronkite News, I'm Blaine McCormick reporting.